In the last days, there would be false signs and wonders, false miracles performed by false prophets, as well as the Antichrist, as was foretold in Mark chapter 13, verse 22. Several verses in the Bible have made it easier to spot these false prophets on seeing them, giving precise details of what they look like, not their hairstyle or a particular way of dressing, but deeper qualities that are pretty easy to spot, especially when you're well versed in these Bible verses. It's surprising to see a prominent man in Israel start to gain popularity because of the miracles he performs. A man who performs miracles at the slightest opportunity. Yénouka Rabbi Shlomo Yéhouda is his name. It is no news that he performs mysterious miracles, but on what basis does he perform them? Could he be the real Messiah? Come along with us as we delve further into this interesting topic. Let's examine the life of Yénouka Rabbi Shlomo Yéhouda for those who are probably just hearing about him for the first time. Many mysterious occurrences surrounding him that point to him being a false prophet. Several characteristics depict that he is a false prophet. Come with us as we look at these exciting characteristics. Yénouka Rabbi Shlomo Yéhouda was raised as a Jewish person, as mentioned earlier. Over time, he became outstandingly fluent in the Torah, Talmud, and other Jewish texts. This in itself had the element of the supernatural because not every Jewish child was like that. The Yénouka, at the age of 15, was very much well versed in the Talmud. It must be recorded as a sign and wonder because it is beyond the natural. The Talmud is like hundreds of books. You can see why we'd like to call this a miracle. Think about it. If the Talmud composed hundreds of books, did he sit down to read them while he was still a young boy? That's a commendable level of discipline right there. And let's say he read them. How could he have such a clear understanding of what he was reading? Let's keep this analysis aside for a moment. They say that this guy's understanding of the Torah and Talmud is so rare that it's only once in a generation or more. This is what gives him the title of the Yénouka. This should already send chills down your spine. Through his understanding of the Torah and Talmud and all the Jewish texts and belief, he has gained a lot of prominence in Israel. He's so prominent that many top rabbis and people wonder about him. They go far for him for his wisdom and knowledge because he had wealth. When you give it a deeper thought, Yénouka's case is similar to the case of Jesus in the Bible, how the people were always in awe of his understanding of the scriptures, even at a very young age. Remember when his parents were looking for him, only to find him in the temple, discussing with scholars. All of this at the age of 12. Rather than think of this as a genius, think of it as supernatural. It's safe to say that such attributes are purely supernatural. Certain people have shared their opinions and encounters with the Yénouka. Fascinating encounters that will leave you in awe. This guy has literally made so much impact on the lives of many people. Let's take a look at what people have to say about him. Someone says he's a unique soul that descended into the world to illuminate the world. Anybody he has helped would feel this way. Someone even went as far as quoting Job chapter 22 verse 28. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways. In his words, many have experienced salvation through his blessing and in the power of his Torah, and witnessed miracles transcending the forces of nature. One would think these words referred to God, but he was referring to the Yénouka, almost as though they had made him their idol. Let's go further as we check out some of the miracles he performed. But before we do so, there is something very striking that we must note in all of this. None of the people who spoke about the miracles the Yénouka performed mentioned God. Instead, they go on ascribing all glory to the Yénouka. You would never hear them include God in their testimonies. It's always about the Yénouka and what he has done for them. This is something worth paying keen attention to. Is this what it should be? We'll come back to that. Let's look at some of the testimonies of miracles he performed. The first miracle we'll discuss is that of a man who claims he can walk again. He said, "One moment I was walking again." An incredible miracle with the Yénouka. Again, notice the emphasis on the fact that the Yénouka healed him. This particular guy was sick and he was in a wheelchair. He was getting transfusions that were making him extremely ill. The Yénouka went to him. The guy came down the stairs and came to him. And then he was healed. He became well. He didn't have to go to the doctor anymore. There's another exciting miracle about a guy who met his soulmate on the same day, precisely the same day the Yénouka said he would, and that was the same person he married. Another guy had malignant tumors. During the period, he had a conversation with the Yénouka, and after a conversation with him, the Yénouka told him that the tumor would disappear, and it did, just as he said it would. Several miracles like this have been recorded. There was a guy who was about to go into surgery. The day before the surgery, he met with the Yénouka, who told him that he would be healed. And it happened, just as the Yénouka said it would. He was healed. Awesome, right? A lot of people would kill to have such supernatural powers. It's still important to point out that there was no reference to God in all these miracles. Each time these people speak, there is no one time where you would hear the statements like, God healed me, God restored my sanity, or God provided this to me. The glory always goes to the Yénouka. A time is coming when the person of the false prophet will arrive on earth, and he will perform signs and wonders. Revelation chapter 13 verses 11 to 17 references this point. It references the fact that the false prophet was in the presence of the first beast and had the authority that he had. He caused all people to worship the first beast who had the fatal wound, the head wound. Verse 13 shows that he performs great signs to the extent that he even calls down fire from heaven in the presence of all men, and he deceives the entire earth. Revelation chapter 16 verses 13 to 14. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of a dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirit of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to battle of that great day of God Almighty. The verse also tells us that unclean spirits, demons, come out of the mouth of the beast, the dragon, and the false prophet. And these unclean spirits go to the kings of the earth and gather them together for the war of Armageddon, the battle of the great day of God Almighty. It's very surprising to see how the Yénouka is fulfilling all of the attributes foretold about the false prophets. We're not clearly stating that the Yénouka is a false prophet. It's only clear that he is acting in ways referenced in the Bible. He displays the qualities of a false prophet. Who wouldn't think he is one? It's just like someone describing their house address to you. Imagine the person telling you that when you get to the end of City Street, you'll see a narrow street by the left, and when you walk into the street, after the first 3 shops, you'll see a tall white building. That's the house. Once you see all these descriptions, you're sure you're in the right place. This is the same way we can see all the characteristics of a false prophet in Yénouka and his works. With these, we can almost conclude that he is a false prophet. Think about how much influence he has amassed for himself over the years, and you'd realize that it is not out of place to believe he is one. Hopefully, when the Antichrist and the false prophet come, God will make it straightforward for all to see. But until then, let's keep being watchful. Jesus Christ is the Messiah and the only way to salvation. He is not just some prophet who comes to the world like every ordinary prophet. He is Christ, the Son of God and the mediator between God and man. And you know, just as we can almost tell that the Yénouka is a false prophet because he meets the characteristics of a false prophet described in the Bible, we can tell that Jesus is the Messiah because he also has the attributes of the Messiah as was prophesied in the scriptures. Jesus is the fulfillment of the scriptures, the only Messiah. Whenever a miracle happens, the glory must go to him and not the person who seems to be performing the miracle. Anyone who acts contrary to this is a false prophet, as foretold in the scriptures. For anyone who desires a deeper understanding of these things, go to God in consistent prayers and ask him to reveal the truth to you, and he will reveal them. You can choose to pray every night or for several days. Ask him to show you how real he is. Also, you can cultivate the habit of reading the Bible daily, especially the New Testament. That is not to say that the Old Testament is irrelevant. Instead, it is just to point out that the New Testament is the reality we are living in. It is a fulfillment of the Old Testament. Once you are serious about these things, you will come to know the truth, because Jesus will reveal it to you. He will prove to you that he is real. It is also important to note that these false prophets only try to mimic the real thing. Hence the title, false, just like the Pharaoh's sorcerers in the Old Testament tried to mimic the miracles that Moses and Aaron performed. But one thing is sure, the truth always prevails. Aaron's rod swallowed that of sorcerers. Jesus is the Messiah and the only way to get to God in heaven. That's all for today's video. Please let us know what you think about today's video in the comment section below. We hope that you enjoyed the video. If so, kindly hit the like button and tell your loved ones about it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see even more of our incredible videos. You can also watch the other videos we've chosen just for you. Until the following video.